Hi, my name is Thayer Period, and here's how I remade the Beat to Deserve It by Yeat, originally produced by Jonah Abraham, Filthy, Yeat, and Lukrative. The first thing I remade was this horn sound. I remade this in Serum, and here's how it sounds with no effects. As you can hear, the effects are doing 99% of the work in this sound. So the first thing we have is just a sine wave for our waveform, but I added some additional harmonics. The way to edit your wavetable like that is just go to this little pencil tool. Moving this first one up all the way will just give you a sine wave, and then if you just go to the highlighted harmonics and kind of add a little bit, you'll notice it'll add higher harmonics. You'll kind of be able to hear that too if I play it. See? You can hear a kind of tone change there. Then I just added 12 voices of unison and had our detune be around 0.18. We have a nice gradual decay and sustain for our volume envelope with a decent amount of release just to give it a nice natural fade out. And we are also set to mono and have our velocity control set to the level of the sound, just so I could use velocity in the piano roll to manually control the level of some of our notes. Now for the important stuff. First thing we have going on is a really hefty tube distortion. Already you're hearing that is where like 99% of that sound is coming from. That's where you get the like deep, like rich, brassy sound. Then I just ran it through a delay. Then just a high cut and a low cut with an EQ just to kind of help tamp down on the sound, make it a little cleaner. And finally, just a low pass filter with the cutoff being modulated by our envelope 1. The next thing I added was the square bass. Huge shocker again, I made this in Serum. Here's how it sounds with no effects. Nothing super crazy. Again, we just have a pretty basic like filter sweepy bass. We just have 2 square waves for our oscillators. Our second one's pitched up an octave with the level turned down a bit, just to provide a higher layer to the sound. Then I'm just running both of those through a low pass filter with our resonance cranked up really high to 51%, just to give it a very like vowel, like wow, like squishy sound when the cutoff is sweeping. Then as you can see, the drive and fat are also cranked up pretty high to make it nice and thick. And we are also using our envelope 1 to control the cutoff. We are set to mono, legato, and have portamento on just to make sure the notes are not overlapping and that there's a little bit of glide going on between them. Then for effects, I just started by running it through a tube distortion, just to again make it nice and thick. Then we are running it through a multi-band compressor to clean it up. Then just adding a little bit of a high cut to help tamp it down with our EQ. Followed by a low pass filter, again kind of tamping it down, getting rid of some higher frequencies that didn't need to be there. Then just a little bit of reverb just to put it in a space. The next thing I added was this lead. As you can see, there's actually 2. They are the same sound. One is just a high octave and one is a low octave. I couldn't do it in the same synth because they're both mono, so it wouldn't work. But here's how that sounds with no effects. As you can hear, a pretty weird, crazy sound. Nothing, again, super complex going on. We just have 2 saw waves. Our second one is pitched up 2 octaves with the level turned all the way down. And that is because you could probably guess we are doing some FM here. We have our FM value set to 48% for our first oscillator, and we are sending it from our oscillator B. Here's with and without the FM. As you can hear, just makes it nice and screechy. We have mono, legato, and portamento enabled, and then also a white noise layered on top of our sound to give it a nice kind of crispy buzz. As you can hear, it helps kind of fill it out. For effects, I started by running it through a very thick tube distortion, just to absolutely slam the crap out of it. And then just a multi-band compressor to help clean up the very messy sound that we have. And I finished that off by just adding a low boost. Next thing I added was this other synth. Again, huge shocker, I made this in Serum. Here's how it sounds with no effects. Again, we have just a saw wave for both of our oscillators. Our second one's pitched up an octave to provide a higher layer to our sound, and they both have the unison cranked up a decent amount with our detune turned down. And as you can see, we have a little bit of movement with a low pass filter cutoff being controlled by our envelope 1, with the resonance not cranked up as high as that square bass, but at 30%. Then for effects, I just started by running that through a sine shaper just to give it a pretty heavy distortion. As you can hear, really beefs it up. Then we are just running it through a multi-band compressor, again to clean it up. and then cutting our extra high and low end with an EQ. Followed by a flanger. This is providing some of the movement in the sound that you really hear in the original. Then we're just layering in a chorus with our mix around 57%. Again, to make it wider, give it more of that flangey sound that you hear in the original, and then just finishing it off with a reverb. Next thing I added was the bell. Just using this really classic Yeat bell, the one that's used in like almost every Yeat song, with an OTT on 15%, with our mids being cut a little bit, a Valhalla Supermassive with our delay turned all the way down to just make it very wide, and then just an EQ to kind of cut our extra low end. Next we have our 808s. We just have a say 808 with just a sausage fattener on it to beef it up a bit, fatness around 15%, color also around 13%. Then finally we have our drums. Just got this tiny little snare, this hi-hat, and this other snare, all being sent to the mixer and then to a drum bus, where I am running them through the Groovy Glue preset in Pro C2, and a radiator with the drum puncher preset, with our mix at 50%, just to provide some extra nice warmth. And yeah, that is everything. If you want access to the Serum presets from this remake, the project file from this remake, or the one-shot versions of those same Serum presets from this remake, or any of my 190 plus other remakes, you can get access to all that on my Patreon at patreon.com/podtherapy. I will throw a link up in the corner of the screen right now. It is a great way to support me and get some new sounds if you are a music producer looking for that kind of thing. So yeah, I hope that was entertaining and informative and educational, and I will catch you next time. Peace!